So what I have here is a pair of brand new Romel Reins, and I'm going to set them up the way I like them. The way they come, you know, if you have somebody build them for you, they usually come set up right. But if you get a pair that are, these are store-bought, they come from, I don't remember where. But if you get a set from most deals, they've got these little attacher doohickeys and these little things, and I don't like them. I don't like the way they're set up. I don't like the way they feel like that. So I'll show you all how I set these things up. The one thing I'm going to mention is I bought a few pairs of these because a friend of mine told me where to get them from, where they're real high quality and everything. And it took him a long time, but he finally got them to make them 6-stranders like these are, and that's just, they last longer when they're, the less strands they have in them, they last longer. So the first thing is this end. I don't like the way these rein attachments work. And so actually what I'm going to do here is, because I used to always save these things, but I've yet to ever figure out what they're good for. If you save them, they're not good for anything else. And so I'm just going to cut them. But if you are like me and you are Scotch enough that you think, I'm going to save that for 20 years and pack it around with me and finally figure out what it's good for, you can just over time work these knots off and unwind them. This one, the knot's actually braided into the other part there, so you'd have to cut it anyway. But I'm just going to cut this little guy. You need a darn sharp knife. Rawhide's hard to cut. And the reason I'm cutting that one is because I am going to save this one little button here, if I can. And I want to get it, as soon as you take these off, they'll start collapsing. So I want to get it, you want to get it on something as quick as you can. In this case, it's going to be a little piece of leather. You put it on a pencil or whatever. And then this other part, I'm just going to cut. Here you want to be careful that you don't accidentally cut the reins. Just cut this connector off. Dang. There we go. And then I like these kind of connectors, and this has got a fancy little knot on there and everything, but it works just as well to just, you can just tie them on there. But these go on. And then when you go to take your reins off your bridle or put it on a different bridle or whatever, it just buttons on there real easy. And like I said, for a long time before, somebody gave me these connectors. What I always did was just take a piece of wearing leather and cut a little slit in there and then just have it where you tie with an overhand knot. But the reason I take these ones off and put these ones on is because they just feel better, they hang better to me. These things are always a pain in the butt to try to adjust them. They get stiff, I just don't like them. So I just cut them off. And try again here to not cut my finger off or cut the reins. And you guys watching can laugh all you want, but this is a really sharp knife. It's just rawhide's dang sure tough to cut. We'll try it one strand at a time. I used to braid rawhide quite a little bit. I've cut myself more times trying to cut rawhide than I can shake a stick at. It's always handy to have a fid around. I keep one in my pocket all the time because I end up using it every day. for something or another. Oddly enough, the same guy that gave me the fids, the guy that gave me these ring connectors. And like I was saying, I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but there's a strand of rawhide through there. So even if you wanted to save that nut, it would have been tough. Okay. You won't come out that way, you gotta go this way. Now see, you can save those things, but I've never found any use for them. So I just cut them. One thing you don't want to do is if you do just cut them like this, and you think, well, there's some nice good rawhide, I can give it to the dog and let the dog chew it. Don't let your dog chew rawhide if you keep rawhide around, even if there's a reliable rawhide chew, because they don't know the difference. So we put our other connector on. That's done. That's the least important part of what we're doing. So now I'm going to take this connector off and put one on the way I put them on. I'm actually giving these as a gift to a friend, and so I'm going to do it a little smaller than what I do it. But the reason I hate these is because when you're holding your rein, then you're holding your rein like so. It, for one, that rawhide doesn't feel good on your hand, and over the course of a long day it'll rub you and this and that. But it also, it's like putting handcuffs on it. Makes your romel's so short that you know, you can't really get much use out of your romel. And again, these same deals, they're stiff and they don't feel good. And so like in a branding pen, I always take my romel off when I'm branding, and it's kind of just a pain in the butt to take it off with these little doohickeys. So I like to use, dang, that's stiff. These are gonna need some, take some time to break these in. I like to use just a piece of saddle string, and I'd put that in between instead. But just like with the rein connectors, first we got to take this son of a gun off. I cut it one strand at a time and managed not to cut my finger off. Maybe. There is a singer guy that's got one eye that I read the way he lost that eye is he was putting new strings in his saddle with a screwdriver and doing what I was just doing there, and it gave and he stabbed himself in the eye. And I always thought, if I ever did that, I would tell people I got in a fight in a bar in Tijuana. I would not tell anybody that I stabbed myself in the eye. Okay, so now we've got them disconnected. So I've got big hands, and so I like my connector to be at least my hand's width, and then just kind of a little more. It's just the size I like it. It feels really good to me. This gal, she's got gal size hands, and so what I'm going to do is, instead of my hand width plus a little, for her I'm just going to do my hand width, and then I'm going to stop that. I'm going to leave some tail there so I can adjust them for her to where it feels better for her. But all we're going to do here is just these down where they're out of my road, and then could you grab me those hemostats? Guy tries to be prepared and have everything ready, and manages to always forget the hemostats. Guy tries to be prepared and have everything ready, and manages to always forget the hemostats. Thank you. Gonna have to add some music or something to this. Oh, you little devil. There we go. And that's pretty darn tight fit there, but over time, it'll get to where these adjust pretty good. Almost messed up. Almost messed up, but not quite. Now I take this other end, run it through this side. No, that's not how I do it. Gotta look at my old pair and remember how I do this. I was doing it right. Didn't give myself enough slack here, so I'm having to roll some of it around. This is why we've been putting off doing this video. Popeye face. And of course, these darn things got rawhide cream on it, so now my fingers are all sticky and greasy. There we go. So that's about a hand width there. And this is why you put a tablecloth on this, so when you cut saddle strings at your kitchen table and you scratch the table, you can cover it with a tablecloth and your mom won't get mad at you. Take this end and then just run it through. This is the same as like you do on your halter rope. There. Like I said, we'll cut the edge off and adjust it once I get it kind of just exactly where it fits your hand, because I've got this adjusted there where it fits my hand. But with that knot, you can just adjust it around wherever you need it. And see, we'll get it up there a lot snugger. And then what I like about using this saddle string is it doesn't get stiff. It feels better in your hand when you're holding your reins. With that knot, you can just adjust it around wherever you need it. And see, we'll get it up there a lot snugger. And then what I like about using this saddle string is it doesn't get stiff. It feels better in your hand when you're holding your reins. It doesn't get stiff and hard to adjust or hard to take off. And it really doesn't wear out. I mean, it's not a piece that gets wore out. But another thing I like about it is these reins, if I get in some kind of wreck, these reins aren't going to break, but this saddle string will. So that's always a positive too. So they're all set up the way I like them. I just take these things off and throw them away, but I saved the little buttons. That's it. Okay, so As I was saying before I started all this, these are brand new reins, and like I said, they're store-bought, but even if they were handmade, well, I mean, they're handmade, no machine can make them, but even if they were custom made, this would still be something I'd want to do. But I want to go ahead and put some rawhide dressing on these, and I said in the video it's got rawhide cream on them, so now my hands are all sticky. I don't really like most production made rawhide creams. I've got rawhide cream that I make myself that I like, but it just doesn't do as good a job as what I think should be done, most of the production ones. But Reins in particular, since they're real stiff when they're new, and you want some stiffness to them, but to me these are too stiff. They'd drive me nuts for 10 years till I got them broke in. But what'll soften them, and it changes the color, but it softens them and just puts a really good feel in them, is kidney fat from beef. And so you go down to the butcher or wherever there's a meat processing plant or anything like that, and they'll most of the time just give it to you. It's just the fat off the kidneys, and then you don't have to render it or do anything like that. You just slather it on there. And I haven't done that because I waited around until it wasn't hot, and what you want to do is do that when it's hot, and just slather that on there, and then hang these somewhere where it's hot, where a dog can't get them, or anything else for that matter, and just let that kidney fat soak in, and then it just gives them a kind of a perfect feel to me. So that's what I would do with these if I was going to keep them. Would put kidney fat on them and then just use them. You do have to use these things for a while till they feel really the way you want, or at least the way I want. And I'll talk about that kidney fat again for just a second, like with our adjustment buttons, with our 2-rein buttons. You know, that rawhide cream, these don't really ever get to where they're really good to slide like that one. I can't even get it all. But with a lot of those rawhide creams, they never really get to where they're real good to slide. But with that kidney fat, they get to where they slide real easy. So that's why I like to use it. That's it.
I want to thank the subscribers of our Patreon channel. The patrons, that's Patron where I'm from, give us the opportunity to bring these videos to you all. Without them, this channel wouldn't be possible. Join us over on Patreon for more in-depth lessons and step-by-step instruction on everything from gear to theory, riding everything from colts to bridle horses, the circus pole, and husbandry. We'd love to see you all over there.